Hi everyone, I welcome you all into this Dell Boomi session. So in the last session, we try to understand the difference between
DDP and
dynamic
DPP.
process property and dynamic document property, right? I think you should have got some idea that when to choose which property, right? There are few
Yes.
cases where we can choose any of these, but ideally, whenever you have something to be stored which is going to vary from one document to another, you go for dynamic document property, whereas something which has to be stored at a process level, you can go for dynamic process property. What else we talked about? We talked about Salesforce integration further, right? So we performed an insert operation, right? We performed an insert operation. We tried to pull the data from the database and we tried to push it into the Salesforce. Other thing is, first, so we tried two different things, right? One was we pulled the data from the database, right? Which data was this? Accounts data. And then the same data was inserted into Salesforce. Okay. So we did something like Salesforce accounts object, and it was other way around also done, right? We pulled the data from Salesforce accounts and we pushed the data to the database. So now these two things have been done, right? There can be n number of things which can be done in Salesforce, but I would like to talk about one more thing, which is very, very significant. If you're working in real time, you need to have a fair idea about that. I already highlighted that part, but how that will impact your integrations, it is very important for you to understand. So yesterday, what we did is we pushed some data to the Salesforce org. So if you remember, we go to the accounts object. Okay, just give me a minute. So we go to accounts. Under the accounts, we could see some accounts created by us. We went to all accounts. Yes. So we go to all accounts, and here, if you see, let me open any of these accounts. So owner is Sumit Agarwal. I think it by default took that because we were using the credentials of this person, right? Then there is phone number and all. If you want to see further details, right? There is an option called as parent account. Yeah, there is an option called as parent account, and this parent account is what type of field? What do you think should be the data type of the parent account?
Lookup field. Relationship.
Very nice. It is a lookup field. Whenever you will see this kind of symbol, right? It will be either lookup or master detail. Yes. Now, if you want to exactly know whether it is a lookup or master detail, how can you get to know that?
By using this symbol.
So you can by using.
We have to go to the fields and see the data type of the field.
Yes. So I have just opened a duplicate tab. If you remember the steps, go to setup. And in the setup, where do we go?
Object.
Object manager.
Yes. Then we have to select account object
Very nice. Then we have to select the account object,
and fields.
fields and
Fields and
relationships.
field name is parent.
Okay, field name is parent. Do we have parent account?
Yes.
Can you see the data type is a different one?
Yes, it's hierarchy.
Yeah, it's hierarchy. And hierarchy, I think, is like when the relationship is with the same account itself, same object itself. It is not with a different object, but it is with the same object, right? So for now, you can consider it more like a lookup only, but then that lookup is on the same object itself, right? Are you getting some options to choose accounts over here, like testing Boomi account and all that stuff? So let's say I
Yes.
choose the parent account is testing Boomi account. I'll save the stuff. Now you tell me in the backend for this APR underscore Burlington Textiles Corporation of America, what value will be stored in the parent account field? Will it be testing Boomi account?
No.
Then what will be there in the backend? This is very, very important to know, because if you do not understand this, you will not be able to work on real-time integrations related to Salesforce.
It will store API Burlington Textile.
Okay, so I'll repeat my question.
API name.
In the parent account field, right now on the UI, I can see testing Boomi account, but what would be internally stored? How can I get to know what is internally stored? Did I talk about workbench?
We can use workbench. Yes.
Can I open workbench quickly? You have to start relating things, guys. I mean, then only we'll be able to work in real time. Okay. So whatever different things have been covered, you have to start joining them and think logically. Okay. So we go here.
Sumit, we have to select sandbox in the workbench.
No, this is not a sandbox. Okay, now let me ask you one thing. So whenever we talk about relationships, how are the relationships established in Salesforce?
By using lookup and master detail relationship.
Okay, that is a data type, but internally what is stored? If you remember, I told these all relationships are established with the help of something specific. What is that?
ID.
Record ID.
Yes, I told all the relationships are established with the help of record IDs. Yes. So now in this parent account, we will have the record ID of testing Boomi account. What is the record ID of testing Boomi account?
Zero zero one.
The one,
In the U.
the one which we are seeing in the URL.
This one. So this
Yes.
ID will be present in this parent account field. We can cross verify that. So we'll go to the account object, and in the account object, which one should we choose? The one which has name is equal to this, isn't it? So how can I write my query? I will select ID. What else should I select?
Parent.
Parent ID.
Parent ID. What is the field name?
Parent.
Parent.
Okay, I do. So we have this parent ID, and we have something called as ID. Yes. From account, then filter. Filter will be on name. Okay, you get an ID and you get a parent ID. And you also have this ID. So I'll go here, I'll write Control F. Do you see this is matching? Yes or no?
Yes.
So internally, what value is stored?
Record ID.
Record ID of testing Boomi account.
Record ID of testing Boomi account. Now, why I am all of a sudden talking about this? Let's talk about a scenario wherein you have to create this object. I mean, who created this record in account object? We only created this, right? Isn't it? We only created this, but then when we created this object, or sorry, when we created this record, we wanted to make sure that we do pass the value of the parent account also in our integration. We also pass the value of parent account in our integration, and let's assume the parent account for this particular uh, record has to be testing Boomi account. So right now I did from UI. Now let's say I go here and I remove this. But if I have to do same thing using our Boomi integration, how can we do that? Is the question. Are you understanding the requirement? If I come back over here, yesterday we started working on process, insert, accounts, data, and all that stuff, right? So let's say you're creating any new account, right? Or maybe sometimes you might try to update an account also. Either ways. So now when you want to insert any account, you want to make sure that you also set the value of the parent account. And let's say that parent account is testing Boomi account. How will you take care of that in your Boomi code? So this is what we did, right? Yesterday we prepended APR. Now let's say today I want to prepend emit Y. Yes. So I want to create all the new accounts, and all of these accounts which I'll create should have a parent account. And let's say for now that parent account is, which one is that parent account? That parent account is testing Boomi account. And it's not necessary that it will be always testing Boomi account. Okay. I may get a different requirement also. So for example, in the database, let us do it this way. What is the name of the table? Select star from APR underscore accounts. The example which I'm telling right now is the kind of example you will get to see in the real time also. Okay, so far it was like one-to-one mapping, straight, simple, right? But then you may not have the exact same requirement in real time. So here you can see you have ID, name, and the phone. These are the three columns. Can we alter this table? I'll say alter table, table name. Alter table, table name. Add parent account varchar 200. What is the issue? Okay.
Varchar.
Table altered. So now there should be a new column. Yes, ID, name, phone, and parent account, isn't it? So now what I want to do is I would say update table. What is the table? APR underscore accounts. Set parent underscore account equal to some value. And what is that value for now?
Testing Boomi account.
Okay. So here there is some issue. The issue was with the spelling of the column, right? This is done. I'll commit my changes. And now again, I run a select query. So can you see this testing Boomi account has been added in all these accounts? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So it is not necessary that all of these will have testing Boomi account also. It can be something different also. But for now, let's live with it. Right now, what I want you to do is you should design your solution in such a way that whatever parent account comes in, right, you use that account and the same account should be reflecting in the Salesforce also. Okay. Now I'll go back here. We did some mappings earlier. Now those mappings, will it change? Will the profiles change?
No.
Yes.
For what? For which one the
Yes.
profile will change?
Database we have to add the parent name.
Very nice. So for the database, profile will change, right? Because we added a new column which was not there until some time back, isn't it? So I'll just quickly say statement import connection. What is the name of the table? APR underscore accounts or account? Accounts. Next. Okay, so we are just refreshing our profile. The reason why we are refreshing our profile is we added another column. We want that column to be reflecting in our profile also, so that we can take care of the requirement, which is to populate the parent account information as well. So now you see the parent account is also reflecting in the profile. We'll just save and close. Save and close. We'll go back to the mappings. So your mappings are still in place, right? What about parent account? So this is a parent account and here we will search PARENT. So there is a field parent ID. Can I map these two as is? Will it work?
Yes.
No.
Because it is expecting ID.
Yeah, it is expecting ID and also you have to understand. So this name itself says ID, but all the time you may not have the names saying like ID, right? Yes. So what you will have to do is you will have to always understand the data type of that respective field. And if the data type is like a lookup, hierarchy, or master detail, then you have to understand that that field is not going to accept the text values directly. Rather, it will accept some kind of record ID. And which record ID we need to pass actually over here?
Parent accounts record ID.
Parent accounts record ID. Very nice. Now, how do we fetch the parent's account record ID at the runtime?
We have to use that dynamic dynamic document property, like get document property.
Okay, so there are multiple ways, but I want to tell you about a way which can be done while doing the mapping itself. Okay, so there is a function, and in the function there is something called as connector. What does it say is we can do a connector call. We can do a connector call. I will say this. Which type of connector do we need to call?
SFDC.
Salesforce. Why I'm doing a connector call? Because if I can fetch the ID on the basis of name, will that ID be sufficient for us?
Yes. Parent name will.
What I'm saying is this time I will do a look first. I will do a lookup on account object and I will try to find the ID of an account whose name is testing Boomi account, because that is the only ID, right, which I need to pass while creating this new account.
Yes.
What I'm saying is if somehow I can get this ID, then my job is done or not, because this is the same ID
Yes.
which is stored right in the workbench. Guys, are you following or you are kind of lost? Is there any question here?
He's not getting actually because you said that it will be dynamic, it will change. That's why we need to pass only one ID.
No, I'm not saying that we are hard coding something. Yeah, I'm just saying that we will take the name and using the name we will fetch the ID. That name may be anything.
Okay.
In this case,
Okay.
that name is testing Boomi account. I'm not hard coding anywhere that
Yeah.
you go and fetch the value of testing Boomi account. If that was the case, I could just set that as a default value also. But what I'm doing is I will
Okay.
use name as a criteria. Using name, I'm going to pull that ID. So what I'm saying is I'll run select ID from account where name is equal to testing Boomi account. So where name is equal to, when I say testing Boomi account, I'm not going to hard code the testing Boomi account. Okay. I will pull that value from the database.
Yes.
So let me do it. Maybe you will understand. So
SFTC.
where is that actual SFTC connection which I need to use? There are a lot of
Right there.
SFTC connections in my machine. So we have to use this one, right? Dell Boomi
Yes.
April 2021
I'll do
batch.
that.
Now how about operation? I need to configure a new operation. I'll say SFDC get account ID by name. Import the same connection. I have to choose. Next, account query operation, and I'll hit next. I'll say account. I'll hit next. Finish. Now, what is a SOCL? This whole blah blah stuff. Do we need everything? No, right?
No, you need ID.
We need ID.
We need ID. So now my SOCL is select ID from account. Is it the complete one?
No, we haven't given name of account.
We have to add expression.
We have to add a filter, and in filter we'll have to add an expression, and the expression will be on the field name, right?
Name.
And here in the filter name, I can give anything. Let's say I give it as account name. So this account name will be populated on the fly, right? And where do we get this value from?
Database.
From the database. Very nice. So now here there is an input. In the input, it is asking account name, and in the output, you have a lot of fields. But which one do we need?
ID.
ID.
ID. Very nice. So now this connector call is helping you to fetch the ID on the basis of account. I'll hit OK. So this is ready. Now can you pass a parent account here and the ID to the
Parent ID.
parent ID? So when you're doing, you should make sure that it turns green. It is done. Now you understand. Now you tell me if you are not following this. There is a parent account which will go as an input to this connector call, right? And that name you are using to fetch the ID. The only thing in this case we have to ensure is the names must be matching, right, between the Salesforce and the database. And if the names will not be matching, then there is an issue. Then we may not be able to pass any value for the parent account. Any questions here, guys? So the reason I want to emphasize on this, when you're working in real time, right, and not only for Salesforce integration, even for any other cloud-based integrations, you will always have to do these kind of relationships, and the relationships will be always established based on some internal IDs. Okay, that internal ID sometimes is named as internal ID itself, sometimes it is named as record ID or some, but then those IDs will be very significant when we want to establish the relationship. So if you do not know the IDs, use that parameter using which you can fetch the ID, fetch that ID, and then do the mapping. Right? So while doing the mappings itself, we can do a connector call also, right? Ideally, we should try to avoid too many of connector calls, right? But if required, you can definitely do connector call to fetch the parent ID. So now I'll save all the stuff. I'll run a test. So you will see the map shape is taking little more time. Why it is taking little more time?
It should get connected.
Because of connector.
How many connector calls will happen internally?
2 times.
How many?
2.
2. Why 2?
Database and SFDC.
So here, when we fetch the data from the database, how many records we would get? Burlington is 1. Then Pyramid, Dickinson, Grand Hotels, and Edge Communication. So how many records are you getting?
5.
5, right?
5.
And so for this, so internally what will happen is when the control will go to the map shape, it will run a loop on all those 5 records. Okay. It will run a loop on those 5 records. And for each record, it will go and do a lookup. Okay. And when it does a lookup, it will try to fetch the value of parent account ID, isn't it? So 5 times your connector calls is going to happen. For each record, it is going to do that connector call, right? I'm talking about the connector call within the map shape. For each record, it is going to do the connector call and it will return you 5 different documents. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So now if I go to the document number 1, do you see some parent ID getting populated? Yes. Now I'll take a note of this parent ID and I'll go back to the workbench. I'll do Control F, Control V. Do you see it is the same ID? Yes. Now how can I check whether the records are created as expected? I'll go back to this. I'll go to accounts. Can you see some new accounts getting created over here? May underscore, all that. Let me go to May underscore Edge Communications. If I go to the details, do you see some parent account getting populated automatically this time? Yes. How is it getting automatically populated? It gets automatically populated because while inserting the data we had passed the record ID, and that record ID corresponds to the ID of the testing Boomi account. And that's how we could populate the parent account as well while creating this account itself. Guys, are you following this?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. If it is other way around, now let's say you have to create a I'll quickly create a so let's say let's pull any other account, uh not the ones which we created. Let us pull any other account apart from that. Maybe this one, United Oil and Gas Corporation. We'll go to the details. Does it have a parent account right now?
No.
Okay, but so let's assume I want to set a, okay, let us not do this one. There was one more, United Oil and Gas Singapore. Let us select that one. So if you scroll down, you get United Oil and Gas Singapore. Come to the details. Okay, now for this one, I will select a parent account, and let's say that parent account is United Oil and Gas Corporation. Save it. Yes. So there is an account, and this has got a parent account. Now let's say you want to pull this data. Okay, you want to pull this data. How can you do that? First of all, if let's say I want to pull this specific account data in Boomi, how can I do that? Let me start with a new process altogether. I want to start with a new process. I'll go to which folder we have been working on. This one. Within this SFDC integration was another folder. We created two processes so far. I'll start with a new component, and that new component is a new process. And let's say process name is lookup demo. Okay, I'm just trying to explain you how does the relationship or the lookup concept works. I start with a start shape of no data type, then I add a try catch. Okay, just as a placeholder, because in case anything goes wrong, we want to handle those errors. Again, in try catch, what all types of errors can we handle?
Document level errors and process level errors.
Yes, so we have document level errors or all errors. So I'll select all errors for the time being. Save. All right. So now you guys have to tell me, my requirement is first of all that I should be able to pull the data for this account whose name is United Oil and Gas Singapore. If I want to pull the data specifically to this account for the time being, how can I do that?
First, we have to establish the connection.
Okay. What else?
Then we have to read the data for this account.
Okay. So how do I make sure that only this account data gets fetched?
By using SQL query.
And what?
We need to add expression there where account name equal to United Oil and Gas Singapore.
Yes.
Yes. So we can write some expression wherein we write where name is equal to United Oil and Gas Singapore. Is there any other way apart from account? Apart from name, can I use anything else?
Yes, record ID.
ID.
Very nice. We can use record ID also. Very nice. How can I get the record ID?
By using account /015, that is the account ID.
Very nice. This is the record ID. This is how you have to answer, right? Then only you will start work. You will be in a position you can work in real time. Okay, I know it takes some time to absorb all these things, but it is important you guys understand this all. All right, we'll get started. So we'll go to the Salesforce. We'll take the connector. Do I need to create a connection again?
Can
No.
you
You can use it.
reuse it?
You can reuse the connection. Very nice. Action will be get or send.
Get.
Get. Very nice. So from connection, we will go and we will search the connection here. Okay. What about operation?
To create one.
Create new.
We have to
Create
create.
new.
Can we actually reuse operation anytime? No.
No.
Some,
We can use. We can reuse. See,
yeah,
you have to
we
understand
can reuse.
anything which is a component can be reused. This is a architect certification question that can we reuse the operations also. So a lot of people assume that operations cannot be reused. See, your requirement may not allow you to reuse it. That is a different ball game altogether. But if you configured some operation right in past and you have a exactly same requirement again in future, then you can definitely reuse operation. You can just go here and you can select. So for example, my requirement is to get account ID by name. Can't I do this? Can't I go and reuse the one which I configured just some time back? We can do that. And this is not only for operation. Any component is a reusable. If you remember my definition also, I told components are reusable entities, right? So any component you talk about, those are reusable. What about map?
It is.
It is
Yeah,
also
we can
reusable,
reuse it.
Is
right? So
also
anything which is under the component explorer, right? It is reusable. Yes. All right. But in this case, we need to configure a new operation. That's fine. So I will say SFDC get account. I will say get account by ID. Okay. Get account by ID. I'll save. I'll say import. Then the reason I'm showing you this whole process 3-4 different times in 3 different use cases so that it sticks to your mind. This is important. Let's hit next. It is getting the object list. Okay. Now object type is account. Action is query. Hit next. All right. So I'll say account done. So our circle looks like this. What do we need to select from this account? Let's say I don't want to select everything, but then I want to select ID, name, and the parent account details. Okay, and the phone number also. Please help me identify those. Okay, we have the phone number over here. How about the parent one? So this is a little tricky. They have not given this in the, in the alphabetical order also, right? So sometimes when you have too many fields, you find it a little difficult to identify the right field. I mean, that happens in real time also, but we have to live with it. We don't have any solution for that. Where is parent? Should we have parent also? Parent ID?
Yes.
yeah.
It must be there.
Here it is.
Yeah, here it is, right? We are right in front of the parent ID. All right, we'll save all the stuff. Save and close it up. So now, is it done or we missed anything in the operation? You can always check Sokal. Select ID, name, parent ID from account. Based on what? We have to add a filter.
Where ID equal to.
We have to add an expression. Very nice. Where ID and the expression, the filter name you have to give So I'm naming, I can name it anything. Okay. For that matter, I'll say SFDC record ID. So I need to set one parameter. And what should be the value of that parameter?
Record ID.
Record ID.
So I will get that record ID from here.
Well,
Guys, someone is not on mute and my voice is echoing. Okay. We'll go back here. So if I want, I can go to the parameters. And here that parameter will be SFDC record ID. And I can hard code the value for now. Okay, I can hard code the value for now. So first I want to test the process until here. How many documents do we expect now?
one.
One. Okay, let's look at it. So we come to the stop shape. We see one document. So you all told it right. There is one document. Let's look at the document. We have got ID. We have got name, right? We have got parent ID. We have got the phone number. All right. But when you look at the parent ID, do we have the name? No, right? We just have the ID. Will this ID make sense for the database?
No. We need to name.
You need to pass
You need to
name.
pass a name, right? This ID
Yes.
may of significance for Salesforce, but from database standpoint, it does not understand, right? Which is the parent account. So now so I need to push eventually this data to the database. Yes. So for that, I'll create a database connection. Action should be send. Connection is already there. And the operation, I'll create new one. DB insert accounts data. Okay. Dynamic insert, you have to select atom, you have to select connection, filter, what is the name of that account? What is the name of the object? Did we create anything new? No, right? The name is APR underscore accounts only. APR underscore accounts. Hit next. Okay, we select that. We hit next. We'll select all the columns. Finish. Just make sure you have the table name populated over here. Done. Done. Okay. In between, which shape is required?
Map.
Map.
Map shape.
Map shape is required. You're right. So now before I use map, I'll quickly want to take a look at the name of the profile. It is SF underscore account underscore query response 3. And how about this one? It is just new database profile. Can I name it a little better? Yes, I can. DB. I'll say accounts. I may have same profile also just to avoid any confusion. I'm just naming it as accounts latest. You can name it more meaningful in a more meaningful way. I'll quickly go to map, hit plus. I'll just name it as like map transform database accounts to SFDC.
Salesforce.
Okay, Salesforce. You're right.
Yes.
Salesforce accounts to DB account.
Database.
Okay, you can write database as DB, and for Salesforce, probably you can write SF, DC, or SF, something like this. All right. So we go to the profile. So left side represents your source, right? Left
XML.
side represents source, and
XML. XML profile.
XML profile, right? Absolutely correct. Because your Salesforce will produce a XML format of data. Nice. So we'll go here, SFDC integration. This one.
Response 3.
Yes. Now for now the right one which should be which format?
Database.
Okay. All right. Latest one. Very nice. So ID needs to be mapped to ID. Done. Name needs to be mapped to name. Done. If you don't find the field, just use this search bar. Yeah. Then phone number. Done. What else?
Parent account, we can get it from connector call again.
Parent account. I can't map it like this. Yeah.
ID.
It won't make sense. So what should I do now?
Connector call.
Connector call.
Connector call.
Function.
Connector.
Which connector?
Salesforce. Salesforce.
All right. Salesforce. The operation should be
Get.
get. Very nice. And connection is already there.
Yes.
What should I have the operation? Earlier the operation was get account ID
Account
by name, and this time it should be get
name.
Get account name
account name by
by
ID.
ID.
Very
From
nice.
ID.
Very nice. So this time it should be SFDC get account name
By ID.
by ID. All right. Earlier it was other way around. I hope you remember, right? And the only reason why I'm showing you one more time is so that you can understand it, because I know it is not easy for every one of you to understand in single go. So we'll say SFDC connection. Okay, so I'll go to next. Finish. All right. So how does my SOCL look like? Like this. Okay,
We need
I'll just uncheck all this and I'll select only the relevant fields which I need to pull. Right? I need to pull name on the basis of a filter, and that filter is
ID.
ID equal.
Okay. So now in this case, just tell me one thing. Okay, you are right. We have to choose ID and we can give Salesforce record ID and all that stuff. But tell me one thing. Haven't we configured the similar operation at the beginning of the process, which was pulling the data on the basis of ID? But it was not only pulling name, but it was pulling some other information also. But wasn't the operation more or less same? I'll repeat. Let me just take a pause over here. Let me step back. If you remember this one, get account by ID. What were we pulling here? ID, name, parent ID from account where ID is equal to this, right? And what are we trying to pull in the second one? What are we trying to pull? Only the name, right? So my question is, can't I reuse the first operation itself?
Yes.
Instead of creating a new operation, can't I reuse the first operation itself? I think I can reuse it. So what I'm trying to say is you can configure the new operation the way I did, or else you could use the existing one also. What was the existing one? Get account by
ID.
ID, go to the input, give SFDC record ID, and output you will have multiple, but you don't need to select all of those. Which one makes sense for you? You just select only that one. What makes sense for you? Only the name, right? So that way, did we prove that we can reuse operation? Yes or no? Yes, we could reuse the operation. So now you have a record ID. So which ID should I pass over here? This ID?
Parent
Parent
ID.
ID.
Parent ID. Very nice. We should pass the parent ID. And using this parent ID, I have to fetch the name. That name will be returned over here, and that I need to map to the parent account. Save and close. Save. Let me run the test again. So whenever you're talking about the relationships, okay, just don't rely on the field which is there on the UI. You always have to understand what is there behind the scenes, right? Because whenever you're working on these cloud-based applications, you might see something on the UI, but in the backend, you might have a different value which is linking both the records. So we'll straight away jump onto the record which is being pushed to the database. How many records will be pushed to the database?
One.
One. Can you see the parent name? Yes or no?
Yes.
If you just start from here, we will have an empty document. Then after Salesforce, what we pass to the map shape, let's look at that one. We pass United Oil and Gas Singapore. Then we come to this map shape. And finally, we are trying to convert the data into a format which is understood by the database. And while doing so, we are trying to fetch the value of the parent account name also. Yes. Now here, can you see it is United Oil and Gas Corporation? That parent account ID, whatever we had, we use that and we try to fetch the name of the account before pushing the data to the database. And while doing so, we use the connector call. And even in the connector call, we reuse the operation and the connection both, isn't it? So this is done. Now this account data, whatever we have, which is being pushed over here, right? Does it have any details about the salary or not salary? Let's say revenue of the, so from each account, you will yield some revenue, right? Isn't it? So let's say you're working for a company called as Infosys, right? Infosys has, let's say 1,000 customers. So they will generate some revenue from each customer, isn't it? So their sales team will maintain the revenue details. Their sales team might maintain a revenue detail. So maybe This is the database. In this database, I had columns like ID, name, phone, parent account. And now I want to alter this table such that I want to add one more thing. And what is that?
Revenue.
Revenue, which is quite possible, right? Okay. And I'll change the data type to number. Now let's assume this revenue details are coming from some different place. Okay. This revenue information is coming from some different system. Okay. CRM is one application. Maybe there is another application which is used for financials. That may be Oracle Financials, that may be Workday. Let's say it is a different application altogether that is going to give me the revenue details. Now what I want to do is I want to push the revenue details also. Okay, so let's say there is a file. Okay, let's say there is a file and the file name is accounts. I mean, we have something like this, accounts. Yeah, let's say you have account ID. Okay, that account ID is same as the ID which is over here in the Salesforce. Let's assume that. So we are talking about this one for now. Let's say this is very important example. This whole things you will see exactly similar requirements in your real-time stuff also. You have revenue, and let's say my revenue is 100,000 USD. Okay, maybe per year I have a revenue of. So this is accounts, and within accounts, what we should have? We should have account, right? So that I can accommodate the revenue for multiple accounts, isn't it?
Yes.
So right now I'm having the details about only one account, but in real time I may have the data about multiple accounts also. So just to make it more realistic, let's take the data for one more account. Okay, let me take this one. And let's say this was 100,000, and that's it. Let's say the second one is 500K. Okay, language is XML. Accounts, and within accounts we have account 1, account 2, and this is holding the ID and the revenue details, right? So I can just go and save it as maybe in my D drive, Boomi Learning, maybe somewhere here. I can say accounts revenue. Okay, .xml for sure. So this is saved as accounts revenue .xml. Now what I want is when I am pushing the data to the database, right? When I'm pushing the data to the database, okay, all this. So let's see if we have any field like revenue over here. See, can you see there is something like called as annual revenue? Yes or no? You do have
Yes.
over here also, but right now, let's say we don't have the revenue information available in accounts. That revenue information is available in some other file. Now I want that revenue information to be pulled, and it should be pushed to the database whenever I am pushing the data of accounts. Are you understanding the requirement? Whenever I'm pushing the data of accounts from Salesforce to database, I don't want to only push this ID, name, parent account, and the phone number, but also I want to push the revenue information.
Now that revenue information which you are, it is in another XML file you are saying, right?
Correct. So
So
that
by
is my
use,
requirement. Yeah.
maybe we can use we can use set properties and we can get the profile element there. And by using function here, we can.
So this is our requirement. We'll continue on this tomorrow, right? But what I'm trying to show you is that we have two different data sources. One is Salesforce, another is file system, right? We need to combine the information from two different sources and pass into the single target system, right? So we will enhance this example tomorrow, guys, from here. So right now what we did is we took the accounts information which was coming from the Salesforce, we pushed it to the database, everything is working fine. Now I enhanced my table such that I added another column called as revenue. I want to push the revenue information also, but revenue information is not available in the Salesforce. It is there in a separate file. I need to read that file. I need to extract the information pertaining to the account which is being synchronized, and that revenue information I need to push to the database. So if you want, you can give it a try. Okay. Or else we'll continue from here tomorrow. All right.